welcome back to another HnK video game experience. HolliwoodKole here with Kleerfyre.
What's up, guys?
So, yeah, we kind of skipped out last week on a few things, man. It's just been a busy month, really. And I'm glad we were able to fit in those two that we did. And throw in a little extra one here. And today we wanted to talk a little bit about collecting. Just in general, particularly video game collecting. That's what I do. I've been doing it for, 4 years now. So I'm kind of still new at it, but I do kind of know a little bit of the ins and outs of a few things that I've just kind of learned. I'll share with you guys, and maybe if somebody was interested in getting into it, maybe it'll help them get a start on it. And Kleer collects pops, and what else do you just do the pops?
I'll do pops, and I actually collect. I've been doing some collecting of some old toys from when we grew up. I actually have a neat one that I want to tell you about that I don't know if I've told you about it yet or not. So I've got some neat little toy collection there, and I kind of got hooked on pops. I kind of specialize in Star Wars and Marvel. And then, of course, I also have my other little collection of pops and some other things, too, that I'll mention later. You know, it's a fun little hobby. I enjoy doing it.
I saw something on YouTube today about, or yesterday, about, like, Nintendo Power, and the guy was just kind of going through the first issue and flipping over and, flipping the pages and whatnot, and kind of breaking down each little page. But then it showed him have several different magazines. He's kind of got them in the little comic book, holders or whatever, dust covers and stuff like that, or just clear. I don't even know what you call it. I don't collect comic books, but
basically dust jackets, dust covers.
Yeah, and I was like, what happened to my game magazines? I wonder. I guess they all got thrown away somehow, but that'd be nice to still have them because I was pretty much a subscriber from the beginning.
Yes,
but I did stop. I mean, at least when probably Nintendo 64. About halfway through Nintendo 64's life, I didn't get them anymore, so I was probably like 16. So I didn't get any with the GameCube and all this. So whatever from then on, I never really collected them. But I do like going back through and looking at some of the old ones if I can. And I actually have ordered a few of them off eBay, like 5 of them, like The Link to the Past, Secret of Mana one, stuff like that. Just games that I like.
I might actually have a stack of those at my parents' house.
Really?
So I'll have to let me check out my parents' house next time I go over, and I'll let you know what I have of the stuff, because there's probably some of yours as well, because I know we had mix and match a lot of the times. But last time I was over there, I did see a stack of old magazines, so there's probably quite a few Nintendo Powers, maybe some. What was the other one that we did too?
Game Pro and
Game Pro
Monthly.
Yes. So I probably have a collection of some of those, and maybe even some rare ones in there. I don't know, because I was about like you Probably right before the GameCube came out is probably when I cut all my subscriptions.
Yeah, it's still good. I like the magazines. I mean, Game Informer. That's like the only one now that I know. I'm not sure there's other ones, but Game Informer is kind of like the best one. It's something GameStop does. Mm-hmm. And it is a good deal. I mean, I'm not trying to like promote GameStop necessarily, which I do. I like them. Some people got a problem with them. I don't know why necessarily, but you can go there and pay your $10 or $15, and you get 10% off of any new games and more. Or any used games, and then when you trade in games, you get 10% up boost. But you also get the magazine. That's the secret.
Yeah,
that's the reason I like it. It's just like a magazine subscription. The other's just bonus.
Yeah, I really need to bump up to the pro membership there and do that. I mean, I do. I pretty much get my games from there. For me, it's the easiest to do it, so I might as well.
You get points too on the, and so that's where I got that copper. I mean, it's awesome, dude. It's probably the best one I've got is copper. Belt buckle that's like Zelda belt buckle has the Triforce on it. Remember I sent you that?
Yeah.
That was awesome, man.
That
it looks cool. I just kind of like wearing it around too. Sometimes you just like bling, and I was like, dude, that's pretty rowdy. But I just got it sitting on my game collection shelves there. But I mean, something like that you can't buy. I don't think you could buy that one. I think you had to get it with points. So
they have exclusive stuff like that are points only, so that kind of makes it fun. And then, too, on top of it, what really draws me now is the fact that they got ThinkGeek involved with GameStop now. And I just get sucked in, man. It's bad. My collector gears start turning when I see that. So, I mean, it's just like, oh, my gosh. ThinkGeek takes a lot of my money. It really does. ThinkGeek will make me a broke man. I will tell you that.
my wife likes unicorns, so I got her this coffee mug from Think Geek, and it has like I don't know if you can see my hands. Let me see. I got to get it to where I can see what you're looking at.
I can see.
It's like a big head of a unicorn, like out this far from the mug.
Yeah, I've seen that mug. Oh, that's hilarious.
It is awesome. It's like a 8-inch, 7-inch, or whatever across, of the mug. But she broke it. She ended up breaking it somehow.
Oh my gosh,
dropping it or something.
So when I get home, back to down to Silver Creek this weekend, I'm gonna take a picture of my son and the new thing that he got, and your wife will appreciate it. She'll get a good laugh out of it. So. He's been running around the house with it, and I just video chatted with him right before the call, and he's running around with it on his head. So I'll leave it at that, but you'll get a good laugh out of it.
Cool. Well, so just kind of fill you guys in on what's been going on with us. I've actually been in like Las Vegas for the past month, so that's why we've kind of been skosh on the podcast a little bit, and not really going over too many games because, like I said, we just don't have the time to review them like we should before we get on here and start talking about them. But and it's fine. We can take a break and kind of talk about some other things because it is a video game experience podcast, so we can talk about collecting, talk about any kind of geeky stuff. It's just real fun things to talk about and kind of just let it fly, And so, and I just wanted to say this. Do you know who Michael Grimm is? You might not know. He's a musician. The
name sounds familiar. I can't place where I've heard that. I've heard Michael Grimm for something. I just don't remember.
Well, just look him up on YouTube. He won America's Got Talent in 2010.
That's where it's from. We watch America's Got Talent, so.
Yeah, it's like 2010. It's like 8 years ago, and he kind of went on those things that are real like haunting, soulful voice. It's just unbelievable. He's from Mississippi too, and he was playing at the Tuscany last night. So we showed up there, me and a friend of mine, Sean, and he never heard about him, and he was tripping me out so hard about it. I'll tell you what he said, but he's like, "Who is this guy?" And I told him he won America's Got Talent and whatnot, and so he's just, all it is a lounge. It was at this Piazza Lounge at the Tuscany. And just sitting up on the stage, I mean, you're like, 10 yards from him or whatever. It's real personal. It's awesome. And it wasn't crowded. And he started playing these songs. I mean, dude, it would just put you in a trance, man. He played George Strait's Amarillo by Morning. He played Walking in Memphis. Oh, my gosh, dude. Those were the best covers of those songs I've ever seen or heard. And he has a little tip jar out front. And he won $1 million. And I told Sean, I was like, he won like $1 million. See that little thing up there? I need to go tip him, man. If you go tip him, he needs to be tipped because he's doing a very good job. Nobody's tipping him. And it's kind of like you drop your tip in there and everybody will start tipping too. It's kind of like the little rule. Mm-hmm. And he's like, is that what that's for? And I was like, yeah. He said, he just won $1 million and he's got a tip jar. And I was like, yeah, but it's just kind of funny. It's like, what do you think you walk up there and be like, oh, is this for us? Is this, he's not taking money out of it. You're sharing back with the people, man. That's awesome. But anyway, it just tripped me out. But anyway, I did have to say that because I actually met the guy and talked to him a couple times throughout the night. And man, that dude is super humble guy, super nice guy, completely authentic. The way that you see, if you know who I'm talking about, you'll go look him up on YouTube. His first audition, it blew everybody away. The judges had to go shh, tell everybody to be quiet so they could talk. But it was a great show, and he's just super nice guy. And then after that we went over to the we're staying by the Circus and went over there and played this card game over there. Stayed up for a few. I think I was up to 2 or 3 in the morning. So I got up at I probably went to bed about 3 and got up at 7. So I don't know, 4 hours of sleep. So I'm a little bit dragging. But anyway, I did my thing, went and worked out, blah, blah, blah. Came back. It was 1 in the afternoon the next day. And then Sean texted me. He's like, dude, I'm still sitting at this table. I was like, oh my gosh, dude, are you nuts? Are you coming back? I was like, no.
Oh my
I'm not losing my money. But so that's why we're dragging a little bit today. But if I kind of zone out, but hopefully I got my Starbucks here. So we're going to be chugging along. Anyway, so yeah, that's why we're doing this. I'm in a class over here, and so I've been having to be focused on that. So that's why I want to do a collection one. And then we did what was the first one? We did Zelda last time, and what was the one before that? I can't remember.
Before Zelda.
Yeah, it was like 16-bit
Zelda was
memories.
the 16-bit memories because that was our 16th episode. That was a lot of fun. I like that one.
Yeah, so that's cool. So just wanted to give you guys a heads up if I do start dragging. So you got any news first before we start going off into this collection deal?
So in the world of news, we actually got a decent few bits of news. First, I want to start off with the 1 million cheaters banned in January alone on PUBG. That's insane, man.
They're serious.
How many players do you have to be able to ban 1 million people? So that tells you right there, one, the game's super popular, and two, it's super overran with cheating. I'm not a fan of cheating. I know Hollywood's not a fan of cheating. And it's just insane to think that's 1 million people banned in 1 month.
Things.
Just in
One's
one month.
Popular, another they're super bad at cheating or something.
I mean, it's
that was
just
funny.
crazy.
I thought you were going to give something profound about it, and then they cheat a lot.
There's nothing profound about the 1 million
it does.
cheaters.
Let me just comment on that for a second, because it is true. There is a little something profound, because I guess not profound, but it is kind of a hidden thing. They're banning 1 million people. So they took 1 million players out of their player bank. Mm-hmm. They believe in their game. They believe in their game so bad. They're like, you're not going to mess it up. We know this has got a long future. We want to protect our brand, and you're out of here. I like it. I wish it'd come to PlayStation 4. Quick.
I love the fact that they did that, because that's great. That shows me that they're invested in trying to keep the game together the way it should be, and not have all the cheating, zoning out all that crap that comes with cheating. So really happy about that, but it's just crazy to think that in just 1 month, not the entire time it's been out, because it's been out for a few months, but just 1 month alone, 1 million people.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So another thing I want to announce too is PlayStation 4 worldwide sales has passed 76 million units. They have sold 76 million PlayStation 4s. That includes PlayStation 4 Pros as well, because they're pretty much the same thing. The only difference is graphics and space, so there's no huge difference between the two. They play the same games. But, I mean, for them to do that, that's still pretty awesome. I mean, especially with the competitor of Nintendo Switch going on, and even going up against the Xbox One and the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. They're still able to produce those big numbers. It's pretty impressive how much, how well Nintendo has, not Nintendo, but PlayStation has grown. And
so they got God of War coming out. So
God of War 3 is coming out. Yeah, it's a huge seller.
So, and Grand Theft Auto 5, did they have some kind of exclusive thing with Sony at first? In other words, say it comes out for earlier on PlayStation. I can't remember. I'm not sure.
Maybe not. Sure. I'm not sure.
I was going to ask about
one.
Red Dead Redemption and see if they had something, but I'm not sure on that. Never mind.
I haven't seen any exclusives for Red Dead Redemption 2 yet. I do know that Sony has been racking up exclusives with everything. I mean, they have an exclusive with Monster Hunter World, where you can get armor, weapons, and a armor set and weapon set for your Palico, which is your little cat companion. You can get armor set from the game Horizon Zero Dawn. And that's a completely exclusive only on PlayStation 4. And it's a timed event too, so you got to get on there and do it soon so you can get it. And it's really cool looking gear. Like, it makes your little Palico look like a robot cat. And he has a big old light on his face. And when you look into the light, it's actually a cat paw print right there. So it's really cool, and you can tell they took their time to design it, because it looks really good. And then he runs around with a weapon that kind of looks, I mean, if you remember Borderlands 2 and you remember Krieg with his buzzsaw hatchet. He had the blade on the top. Krieg. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, but all robotic and everything. So it looks really cool, and just a really neat thing like that. And then later on this month, February 28th, is when they're going to start the quest where you can get the armor set that makes you look like I know I'm not saying her name right, but Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, the main character, you actually can get all armor to look just like her. So, like, you put the armor on, and it actually makes you look like her red hair and everything, and you're able to even get her bow. So that's really cool that they're doing that. And that's actually, I think that helps drive some sales for Sony, because you have all these tie-ins from these other games. There's some rumors going around that Monster Hunter World, you'll probably hear me talk about that a lot, because that's the new game that I'm really sucked into right now, and I really like it. But there's some rumors going on that there's going to be exclusive content for the PS4 with other games tied in as well, because it's a Capcom game. So, and it just
I'm glad they're going back to Sony, because Monster Hunter was like all on Nintendo for a long time.
Sony's got a lot of things like that going for it, and it's got some just killer exclusives. When you're looking at Horizon Zero Dawn, you're looking at God of War 3 that's fixing to come out. Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 all had exclusive content in it. They're doing a lot of these deals like that, so it always has these exclusives, and they just have great games. I mean, they got the gameplay, and I think that's where it's driving their sales right now. I mean, Nintendo Switch does have some great games, but they're new to the market right now in comparison. And so, and they're still selling great. Nintendo Switch is selling great, but, it's hard to debate with 76 million units sold worldwide.
Yes, it's just the standard PlayStation 4 has the hardcore gamer persona or whatever, over Xbox and, of course, Nintendo. Mm-hmm. And so Nintendo has more of a casual game vibe, and they're trying to change that, and they're doing a really good job with it, I think. I mean, Nintendo Switch is doing really good, and I want one.
Fantastic system.
But, but that's kind of where that is. So if you're a hardcore gamer and you just want to get in games, and it's still kind of ironic that it's almost a Sega-Nintendo feud to some degree. Nothing like it used to be, but, you got the hardcore Sony, your older kids, kind of adults, 30-somethings, you're going to get that PlayStation 4 when, the younger kids are going to get that Nintendo probably.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of that, too, there's been rumors that Xbox One X is the last console Microsoft's going to put out. So, I mean, there's been large rumors about that. I don't know how based those rumors are. They're very sketchy rumors, but there were those rumors going on because Microsoft's not making a lot of money off the Xbox One. They're actually kind of staying flat with it as far as revenue's concerned. And so they're like, why are we making these game systems when we've got the PC? You got the PC. A lot of these games now are coming out on Steam. You can get them on PC. And it's like, we're competing against ourselves there. And I kind of get it. So, we might not see an Xbox system anymore. That very well soon could happen. And then we will be back into the whole Nintendo versus Sega kind of thing again, because it'll be Nintendo versus Sony at that point. So, but I kind of look forward to that again if that happens again, because that was actually a great time in gaming. So, but that's good. So another little bit of piece of news that I don't want to let slip, and I was going to have this for our last podcast because it was actually, not for our last podcast, but for last week, because it was actually last week was one of mine and Hollywood's favorite games. 21 years old. It is now legal to drink. Final Fantasy VII. It's
21.
It hit 21 years ago.
Oh, I saw it you posted it on Facebook. You posted something on the Facebook. Yeah.
And so it's just one of those things. When I saw that, I'm like, holy cow! Thinking back to that, that game coming out 21 years ago, because me and Hollywood got the game 21 years ago. Got it when it dropped and all that. So. It's just hard to think that, but yet it just shows you how much gaming has evolved too since then. So, and the one last bit of news that I want to share with us today, it's a great piece of news that I think everybody should know, but Red Dead Redemption 2 finally has a true hardcore release date. They said it. It was supposed to come out, I think, what was it, March, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I don't know.
And they've pushed it back, to October 26th of 2018. And what they said is, we want to make sure that it's perfect. We want it to come out and be right and be good, and we're excited about it. we didn't have things polished the way we wanted. We just wanted a little extra time to polish. So it's really exciting that they're doing that and cleaning it up and making it good. So that's there. And then I'm sorry I said that was the one last piece of news. The other piece of news that I do have is the rumor mill is starting to crank up about PlayStation 5. So they are saying and claiming that a PlayStation 5 is going to drop in 2020. And if it does, it's going to be the fourth quarter of 2020 because that's historically when Sony has dropped all their PlayStations with the exception of PlayStation 1. So they love to use the end of the year holiday time. I mean, it's perfect timing because everybody's got money and want things at that time. So look for the rumor mills to start cranking up. And they say that the first hardcore news that we'll hear will be E3 of 2019. There might be some rumors pop at E3 this year, but they really feel like they're going to hear some hardcore proof on 2019. I know that's a year and a half in advance, but with PlayStation 4, I know I was hearing stuff 2 and 3 years ahead of time before it came out. It's one of those things where keep your ear to the ground because you'll probably end up knowing about it well in advance. So
I don't know what's going to happen because the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 had the 10-year system cycle, which has never happened again. So when they released pictures of gameplay for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, you're kind of like, it's not that much different. I don't see that much difference. And, yes, it looks a little bit more detailed, but it wasn't really you'd see a Super Nintendo to Nintendo 64, Nintendo 64 to GameCube, and so on and so forth. It's just massive leaps. Mm-hmm. And then now it's just kind of slowly, one little couple of shadows or something here and there. Mm-hmm. So you see that, and then you kind of think back to when, PlayStation 4 was first released, 2013. What did they do? They released the games both on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. So I hope that when PlayStation 5 comes out, it's solely games for PlayStation 5 and not PlayStation 4 like it used to be, so they don't kind of drag this transition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So there's two theories of thought on this. One theory of thought is that the PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 won't be such a jump that it's like you can't play this PlayStation 4 game that you can play this PlayStation 4 game on this PlayStation 5, because basically what they're saying is that this is one of the lines of rumors that I've heard is that the PlayStation 5 is literally to push for the 4K gaming to get games above the 60 frames a second, to basically compete with PC, to get a 10-core processor into the system, to basically put just a stupid amount of RAM in the thing. I haven't heard what type of RAM, but they want to hit 10 teraflops of processing power inside of the system.
10 flip-flops?
Yeah, 10 flip-flops. We'll call them flip-flops. But so they want to hit
serious.
So they want to hit that. They want to hit that threshold, and in doing so, they actually could be able to keep it to where the games play on either system. So that would stretch it in a weird way, and I don't think that would be the best move, because then you look at your losing sales, and it's kind of another generational step like the PS4 to the PS4 Pro was. But the other thought is more in line with what you're thinking and what you stated is PS5 comes out, games on PS5 only. Because when you think about it, the PS4 Pro dropped what? Was it 2016 that it came out?
Yeah, something like that, 2 years or so.
So it's been out for a little bit now. Because, it came out right before Destiny Rise of Iron. Because I remember getting it. Or no, it came out after Rise of Iron. I think so. Anyways, I don't remember. But either way, if you look at it, yeah, it had to. It had to have. I've had my PS4 for about a year now. So I think it's about a year. So it came out, and when you're looking at it now, if it came out in 2016, you're looking at, okay, 2016 to 2020, that's a 4-year gap. Well, if you look at it, it was almost a 4-year gap to the It was a 4-year gap to the PS4 to PS4 Pro. So that's 8-year span on that one system, technically. So they might push it to where it goes straight up to the PS5 and not have that gapped bridge, because if they're trying to push the 4K gaming standard, they're not going to be able to have a game that can push 60 frames a second or more on one system and not the other. Not the way that games are designed for consoles. For PCs, you can do that because you've got your graphics settings and all of that. But for console, they just don't do it. You know, they have to have that set limit. That's the reason why you don't get above like 30 frames a second on Destiny 2 for the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One S and X, because it would totally leave out the old PS4 and the Xbox One. So they had to keep it at a blocked frame rate for that reason. Now, could they develop it? I would think they should be able to, but that's a lot more money involved in the gaming. So
I don't know. I think they might be making a mistake. I mean, I don't know enough about it, but this is close because, you know, I still game on a 720 TV, and it's just as good to me as it is on all the other time. Right now, I'm at the hotel. I got a 1080, and it's just ever so slightly better. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change anything. So in other words, you know, there's going to be a few like tech savvy people or people that just have to have the latest generation of stuff, like the people that would buy the iPhone X, that just want to have the newest PlayStation. But as far as a gamer goes, I don't think gamers are sitting around going, man, this needs to be 4K. This needs to be 60 frames. Sometimes it's 60 frames and blah, blah. You know, PC gamers, that's what that's for. People that care about that are going to PC game anyway.
Yeah.
And you got that going on. If Xbox doesn't release a system, and then you got Nintendo Switch with their little handheld gimmick, which I don't necessarily get into, but apparently it's popular.
It's very popular. It's crazy.
Yeah, but so they have new. You know, all I'm trying to say is that think about, you know, long ago. 8-bit to 16 to 32 to 64 to the 128, PlayStation 2, blah, blah. And these were jumps that were so far up that when you saw that, you were like, man, I got to have that I got to have that system. I got to have that game. What are they going to provide me? Oh, this goes in 4K. If I can't see a difference, why am I going to go spend another $400, $500 on this thing? I got Nintendo over here for $300 or whatever. I don't even know how much it costs, but it's got these fun games I can I can do a handheld or whatever, or Nintendo comes out with their own new system in 5 years. It has its own little gimmick to it, something different. And the only thing that the new PlayStation, it's faster, it's 60 frames. It's a bunch of technical specs. You see what I'm saying? Without any noticeable thing to people that just game and don't care about that stuff. They just want fun factor. So that's kind of dangerous, I think. I mean, it better bring out something good. I mean, I don't know.
So yeah, it can be very dangerous for gaming when you're looking at pushing specs, because it can create roadblocks and it can create...
There's no visual difference, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. So for me, I went from 720 to 4K. I did make a good jump. You know, I went and I got the 4K TV, I got the PS4 Pro, I had it all, you know, I had the whole jump up. And
how much did it cost you?
I noticed a huge difference. Well... You
bought it and then you sold your other one, so it probably cost you $150 max.
Yeah, the PS4 Pro.
No more than $200.
Yeah, the PS4 Pro itself cost me out of pocket probably another $150 because it was the same price as the original one, and you know, so it didn't shoot me big on that. But I bought a new TV. You know, did I need the new TV? Probably not, because I had a nice 720 Samsung. Now, granted, it was at the time when I bought the 4K TV, that one was probably 7-8 years old at the time, so it was starting to get to the end of life for it anyway, because flat panels just don't last that long. And so I got a 4K TV, and of course I could tell a huge difference, because you're going from 720p to 4K, and it was a massive difference. Now, when you're looking at 4K to 4K HDR, which is the new thing now, or the newer thing, to me, I don't see a huge difference between the two. And I'm not going to lie, I love gaming on my 4K TV. When I game on my 720p TV, I see the difference. It's a huge difference. But, you know, for me, being somebody that's blind as a bat, gaming on a 4K TV is pretty nice because I see everything better. And I actually could almost game without my glasses on. But,
well,
I mean,
you can't push specs. People that care about specs that intensely are not your casual gamer. They're your PC gamers. They're your hardcore like Call of Duty. You know, your 60 frames or whatever, so I can get the the 0.06 millisecond jump on
exactly
the other guy, blah, blah.
And two, they're the people that buy gaming monitors that are 24-inch, 25-inch monitors, the smaller monitors that 4K doesn't super hard matter on. What really matters on that is that frame rate. And, of course, they want to push that to get their, like you said, their 0.2 millisecond jump on people, which, I mean, if you're into that type of gaming, then it could probably pay off for you, and you're probably making the money from gaming to be able to buy the stuff. But for people like us, a spec pushing.
There's more casual gamers than there are spec gamers. That's what I'm saying. And they're going to jump ship to Nintendo. Maybe, I don't know. I have no idea. But if they better have a better jump, is all I'm saying. Because even after the PlayStation 4 was out, it still took a think about that for a minute, 2 to 3 year transition time for everybody to kind of jump on board this PlayStation 4. When would that ever happen? What console do you know that was the next biggest thing, PlayStation 2, PlayStation, that it took a transition time? I mean, they're still lingering. They're always lingering around. They still made games for another year or whatever. But, man, everybody jumped on board and had to have this new PS2. Everybody's talking about it. PlayStation 4, everybody's like, what? What's it do? Look, here's the pictures of it, and you're like, one just looks different, not better or worse. It just looks different than the PS3 version.
Well, the big kicker for things like the PS1 to PS2 is when the PS2 came out, if you wanted exclusive games for PlayStation, you had to go to PS2.
That's what they need to do.
With the PS3 to PS4, if you wanted exclusive games, you could have the PS3 or PS4. It didn't matter.
But they did that because they knew, hey, we're not selling as fast as we should.
Exactly. It kind of saved them a little bit. And it actually probably helped kickstart the PS4 a little bit, too.
So, but anyway, that's real interesting. It's interesting. It's kind of a interesting time again in gaming. We're kind of coming up to that and see how this is going to play out. Because, how much of a jump in graphics can you actually go? I mean, it's only, start barely creeping along, unless it's some kind of augmented reality. I mean, what else? What's the best you can? But every time there's a new system, I was like, oh, it can't get better than this. Oh, it can't get better than this. And it somehow would. So, But anyway, speaking of systems and older systems, let's talk about some collecting.
Let's do it.
Retro game collecting and pops. What do you got what do you got to say on the pops? You think? Actually, just go ahead and tell me about it. You're a collector of pops, so you like collecting. I know you've kind of started getting the games, collector's editions games is kind of what you like to do too.
I do collector's edition games, and I'm starting to get back into the game collecting. So I'm kind of step back from you on the whole video game collecting at this point because I'm getting back into all of it and everything and trying to do the whole collection thing. By the way, just to let you know, I randomly won a SNES Mini.
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
There was another contest that I was involved in.
Serious? What contest?
Yeah. It was a contest.
Or something?
No, it was a contest at one of my local game stores here. And
wow, that's hilarious.
I put in an entry there. They called me up and they said you won it. I saw one. I was shocked about that. So I just want to add that in since we're talking about collecting. And I just think it's
my own contest going on.
That's what I said. I was like, I got my own contest for one going on, and I just won one. So I actually have one now. So that's kind of exciting that I have one. But it was kind of funny too.
Wow.
So
that's funny.
So with me, I like collecting the collector's editions of games because they always come out with some neat exclusive content. And I've gotten into collecting pops. I started with Star Wars, I branched out into Marvel, and then I've got a few Destiny pops because I did like Destiny. I mean, there's still things about Destiny I like. I hope one day that it gets resurrected and possibly saved, but that's something that we'll have to hope and pray for way down the road. But I've got pops. I'll put up a picture tomorrow on our Facebook page of my pop collection because I have it all at work. And it's really neat. It won't be able to show all my pops in one picture, but I'll show it. It's a pretty neat little layout that I've got. But I've even had friends. I collect it so much that I even have friends that when I get into work, I will find a random pop sitting on my desk that somebody has gotten me. Because I only collect the exclusive ones. I don't collect the ones that aren't exclusive. I've got a few that aren't. That was just because I'm a Star Wars
pop, though. I mean,
so they have exclusives that are exclusive that you can only get at certain stores because they sell them at Walmart, at Walgreens, at Toys R Us, Target. I mean, they sell them everywhere. GameStop, whatever. So these exclusive ones sometimes are limited or hard to get. So I collect those because I like to chase those. Now the Chase Pops are even harder to get because they're even more limited exclusives than that. Like the one that I was chasing for a while that I never got was the exclusive Crota that they have at Target. They had a pop of Crota, and then they had his Chase. His Chase was a glow-in-the-dark version of him, but you could only get both at Target, and the Chase was 1 in 6. Every time, basically for every 6 regular Crotas, there should be 1 Chase Crota. Well, I haven't seen a Chase Crota in the wild. I haven't gotten one, and I was chasing them back when they were actually the regular exclusive Crota was around $300 on the aftermarket, and the Chase Crota was about $700. So they've all come down greatly in price since then because the market has gotten saturated with them. But you do see that right now. I've got a Chrome Batman from the New York Comic Con. He's worth I think he's at about $40 right now. I've got the Cloud City Duel. It's a 2-pop piece. That's basically, if you remember the Cloud City Duel from Star Wars, where Vader chops off Luke's hand. Mm-hmm. I basically have that scene. One of my buddies actually gave that to me for Christmas, so I thought it was pretty cool. I've got a couple pops that are actually outside of Marvel, which the Batman I just mentioned. I got a Wonder Woman that she's got cross bracers. It was actually one of the Christmas pops from Funko, and then which Funko is the company that makes all these, by the way, if you don't know. And then I also have a pop of Mag the Mighty, which is from Game of Thrones. He's the first giant that you meet. He's the king of the giants. Okay. So I have a pop of him, and he's like a 6-inch pop. He's about I don't know if you can see my hands very well. He's about that big. Well, the one that I just recently got that I love is my 10-inch Hulk from Ragnarok. Basically, he's got the hammer, he's got the armor on and everything, and that sucker literally is like my chest. He's like this big. He's huge. I mean, just honking huge. I'll take a picture, and he dwarfs everything. I also have collected, so there were limited edition figurines of the Destiny characters of the Hunter, the Warlock, and the Titan. And I have the Walmart exclusive of the Hunter, I have the GameStop exclusive of the Warlock, and I have the Target exclusive of the Titan. And then I also have Lord Saladin. He's actually a little bit bigger than the rest of them. He actually comes with his big old honking axe. He's got a removable helmet that you can put on and off him. He's got his cape, everything. I mean, really cool, fully articulate character. Like I said, I'll take a picture and let y'all see all that. I've got, I've got stress balls of this is how much I like Destiny. They made a stress ball set of the different types of Ingrams, of the green, the blue, the purple, and the gold. So I have the full set of those, which for a while they were really hard to find. And then I have 3 pops from them. I have Crota, I have Xur, who else did I have? And Atheon, because they were all exclusive. Atheon was exclusive to GameStop, and so was Xur. And then Crota was the exclusive to Target. And that's my pop collection stuff for that.
So the most expensive one, what's the one that's worth the most of
right
pops?
Now?
What's the average pop go for? I mean,
so an average pop, you go in a store, you can buy a pop anywhere from $8.99 to $12.99. That's about the average range of normal. Walk into the store, buy a brand new pop off the shelf. You can get them for as low as $5 on sale bins and stuff like that. But if you go into and you look at collections, there are some pops going for like $1,500 on the aftermarket.
Jeez.
So you can buy one for $1,500. Let me.
What's the one what's the most expensive one you have?
The most expensive one I have right now is Hulk. He's worth $47. So okay. I haven't been able to get some of the really rare ones because they were really hard to get. But I'm watching for them. I'm trying to get them. I'm trying to pull up where I can see where.
So you don't buy them and try to resell them if you get a good deal. You buy them to try to keep them.
I buy them for my collection. I want them for my collection. So. I'm fixing to see. I've got my pop price guide here pulled up. I'm going to see if I can find out some ones that are expensive. But it's just crazy how some of these are, prices go for these. So right now, if you pull up, this is from Pop Price Guide. there was an exclusive Ned Stark that his head would come off, because Ned Stark at the end of season 1, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, this is a spoiler alert, Ned Stark gets his head chopped off. Well, they had one of this, and it was an exclusive, and if you have it in the box right now, you can sell it for, on an average of $1,225.92.
Oh, wow.
So he's number 2. Right now, he's number 2 on the list. Number 1 on the list is animation Pop Aurelia Vegeta, and he goes for $1,635.50. So they can go for a lot of money. The third most expensive is a Star Wars one that I've actually tried to chase and I could not get. I almost did get. It's a Pop Star Wars Shadow Trooper. Just that's all it is, and it's $1,057.20 right now. So I mean, These things just go for some crazy money. I have a friend that actually has the headless Ned Stark, but he's out of box. Out of box, he's still worth about $800. So, these things go for a lot of money, and if you catch them, I like getting the ones from the Comic-Con that are exclusive. I'm trying to get a hold of a Lord of the Rings Balrog that's glow in the dark. He's a 6-inch figure, so he's one of the little bit bigger ones, because most of them are about like this size right here. They're little bitty guys. They're basically bobbleheads. So, and I've got some ones too that they called they're soft ones. They're plushes. I've got a plush of Deadpool, so that's kind of funny because he's got a big head, little body. And I've got a Captain America like that and a Thor like that. So, it's a lot of fun just trying to collect these things and have it. And I've got it all set up in a little scene. I've got other little Star Wars stuff with my Star Wars guys. I actually have the Destiny 2 fidget spinner that was given away for pre-orders, that only if you pre-ordered between like 3 days that they were giving it away. I got a hold of one of those. I could actually sell that thing for $70 right now.
Yeah.
People would pay $70 for a fidget spinner. Crazy. And I also have the little Cade 6 figurine that was given away for that. Of course, I've got the whole entire collector's edition of Destiny 2. It came with the backpack, which I really thought the backpack was pretty nice. I haven't used it yet. And it came with all kinds of other stuff. But yeah, I like collector's editions. I know this is outside of our gaming stuff, but if you're a geek, you know about Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I actually bought the collector's edition of it, and it comes with an original piece of the film strip in there. So I've got the little card that has an original piece of the film strip from the original film.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
It's pretty neat. So I mean, I like collecting things like that. That's kind of my thing. Right now, I've got as far as old systems, I actually got a PlayStation 2. I've got a Xbox 360. That's the Modern Warfare 3 edition, and I have a Super Nintendo and just a few games on it. Phantasy Star Online is one of the games that I have that's actually a valuable game that I just never got rid of it, and so I'm collecting it. Of course, I've got Toe Jam and Earl. Panic on Funkatron, and I got a few other games too. Nothing just super high thing. I've got Super Mario Kart, Super Mario All Stars, and I forget what other Super Nintendo game I've got. I got 3 of those, so I'm kind of getting back into it slowly. I've got Rogue Squadron on the N64. That's right, I've got my N64 as well. I've got Rogue Squadron. So I'm starting to slowly get back into it. I go hit up Game Exchange pretty regularly now, and they have a few things every once in a while. So
let's talk about this for a second. The collecting. So yeah, a lot of people collect those figurines and stuff like that. Collecting's a weird thing because usually stuff that is supposed to be collectible is not what's collectible.
Yep.
It's stuff that the real valuable stuff is either, like you were saying, stuff that's hard to get or stuff that you didn't know was collectible. Mm-hmm. The example is a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo game in a box. Mm-hmm. Everybody thought it was packaging back in 1986. Nobody knew that it was part of the game. Sega put it out in a plastic case. So a friend of mine, Dave, kind of turned me on to collecting a little bit. He's a big coin collector and huge. Very smart with it, and he knows everything about it, because he just loves it. It's his hobby. So there's several rules to collecting. One is obviously you want to do something that you're going to be interested in. Otherwise, you're not going to really kind of get into it. So I like video games. It's been a hobby. I like it. And I do like coin collecting to some degree, or kind of historical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I like, like he sold me some Morgan silver dollars from 1886, right? And I like it because it's Western, and some of them have been cleaned. Well, if you're a coin collector and something's been cleaned, you usually discard it right away. But I'll pay a little bit of a cheaper price because I just like it. So that type of thing. And then the other is knowledge is power, which we're going to talk about a little bit for the video game. I'm going to give you guys a couple of hints, a couple of tricks on what to look for on various games. And it's not easy, in terms of you just walk into the store. It takes a lot of research on your part. I'm going to kind of give you guys a head start, I hope, if you want to get started on collecting. So he turned me on to that kind of stuff, and that's where I started to really start looking into what do I mean, like a friend of ours, John Dre, he's a baseball card collector. He's been doing it forever, and he just knows a lot about baseball, and he knows about the players that are current and the ones that aren't. He has a little method that he does to actually make some money on it, some fun, some little money that he can buy and trade his cards. So he kind of turned me onto it too.
Yeah, I forgot he did that.
He did it a long time ago, but then he, just maybe a few years ago, he told me about it, and he's just like, you need to start doing video games because you seem to know a lot about them. I said, okay, that's a good idea. Well, so I started looking into that.
I got an entire 1996 edition Topps of all the baseball cards from that year.
Yeah.
So I need to go to him and say, what you got?
Anything 1990s and up is completely worthless, man.
That's what I figured.
Because everybody was collecting then.
Yeah.
And that's, it really is. I hate this. I got like Shaquille O'Neal rookies, Michael Jordan's, all this. It's nothing, like $10.
Oh, yeah.
So, everybody was collecting this. So, like I said, once everybody kind of gets turned on to collecting, it starts to get, it's not that worth that much. So, ironically, in video games, if you start talking about something about Super Nintendo or Nintendo's, inevitably somebody will say, I got a Zelda, I got a Mario 3, and those are phenomenal games. And they're worth a little bit more than your average game, but you got to keep in mind, those games are popular. They sold a lot of those games, so there's a lot of them out there. The more there are out there, the less the price. So Mario 3 might go for $15, $10. Zelda's 15 to 20. There's a gray cart and a gold cart. I think the gray, they're about the same. But anyway, so there's different variations of carts. That's really where you get into the tricks and kind of learning what's valuable and what's not.
Well, before we jump too far in that, I forgot to add my one thing that I told you I was going to tell you that's special about my collection.
Okay.
So, remember back in the day, what was one of our most favorite toys that we had?
What, like Ninja Turtles or something?
It's Ninja Turtles. And this one is, I've got him. I found him at a place in Chattanooga. He is in the box. Can you guess which one it is? And it's from, idea. And I'll tell you this, I'll make it easier from you. It's from one of the movies.
Like a Super Shredder or something?
I have a Super Shredder in the box.
That's how you know.
From the Ninja Turtle 2 movie.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty cool that I found that. And that's kind of, for me, it might not be a crowning piece for anybody else, but for me, because there's so much history and so much nostalgia, because that's a time from when me and Hollywood were young. And I have my Super Shredder from back then, but his pads have been ripped off and things like this. But this guy, he's in the box, he's mint. This is all, it was awesome that I found it. So,
all right. So, let's see.
I'm sorry for derailing you on that.
Well, yeah, I want to kind of give them some tips on it instead of just kind of talking about it. Ours, I do want to kind of get into mine too a little bit, but kind of want to just for somebody that wants to get interested in it. Obviously, you want to collect what you know and what you want. Mm-hmm. That's where it's got to be something that you're interested in, because then you're not going to do enough research on it. Like you're saying for your pops and stuff. To really know where these exclusives come out, to really know the different variations of games, and to even know if this is a legit game, because there are fakes out there. I got started with I kind of started watching. One of the best places to look is YouTube. It really is. Look at Metal Jesus Rocks. Look at Cinemassacre. Look at Classic Gaming. Quarterly, something like that. I can't remember what it's called. Pretty much anything. Pat the NES Punk, all these, it's like a little subculture. A lot of kind of in Seattle. Kelsey Lewin, I actually met her. She owns Purple Gorilla Games in Seattle. I was there, walked in there to see it. She knows everything about these games. She's a guest on Metal Jesus Rocks. Metal Jesus Rocks used to work for Sierra, and they just, it's just a group of people that love gaming. So they're going to kind of give you the some people kind of hate on it a little bit because they say, oh, you talked about these games, and now that makes the prices shoot up because you've mentioned it, now the world knows about it, and so on and so forth. And he literally said, well, I don't know what to do about that. I just want to talk about great games. So, and just because something's old does not necessarily make it valuable. Just because something's fun doesn't make it valuable. Like I was saying, Super Mario 3 and Zelda, some of the rarest game, like Dinosaur Color Dinosaur, is a NES game that's worth a lot of money, and it sucks. Nobody played it, right? Stuff like that.
I mean, the stadium events. I mean, that game.
Stadium events is super rare because they put it out and they had to recall it. Mm-hmm. So there's double digits amount of stadium events out there. World Nintendo Championships that only release 5 gold carts, stuff like that. Those are super rare. So those are rare, and if you want a complete collection, yeah, you got to do that. But you got the North American collection, the European, which one is official Nintendo? Because you got Wisdom Tree, Tengen, all these other different companies that released unofficially licensed NES games. So those count in the collection. There's 800 something NES games. So that's kind of where I started with mine, and I just kind of got the ones. I don't know how many I have now. I mean, probably. I might have 100. I don't know. But I just got the ones that I liked and that I wanted. Mm-hmm. I try not to pay retail for them. It's more fun to kind of find them out in the wild. But people know this stuff now. They know that their games are valuable, and they don't know anything about it. But if you get a Donkey Kong or a Mario and you go try to buy one from somebody, they're like, oh, I know how valuable this is. Like, no, you don't. It's a Mario. Yeah. Just because you think it's popular, it is popular. That's why it's not worth it that much. So you just look for stuff like that. Like for example, we talked about the Mario in the black box that sold for $30,000. Well, if you're just careless, you can go on eBay right now and find a sealed black box Mario for $600 and go, oh man, that's a great deal. This one sold for $30,000, and just buy it offhand. But little did you know, it's because it had the hang tab on the back. That's what made it so valuable.
Yep.
So if you know this and you see somebody, I'm not saying to rip somebody off. I mean, I don't know what I would do in that situation. I would probably not buy it because, if you see somebody that has a hang tab and you're like, oh, this sealed in box, I'll give you can buy it for $50, and you're like, this is worth like $30,000. And it's a moral dilemma now. Do you buy it and go sell it for $30,000, or do you say, hey, this is worth a lot more? So stuff like that. And some resellers, I mean, you go to these flea markets and stuff, and you see these vendors that have them all these games. I've seen a Mario Duck Hunt. There's like thousands of these. They're like $2. Try to sell it for $15. I said, dude, are you crazy? Well, it depends on the condition. I'm like, dude, I got a conditioned Mario. I'll sell you for $5 right now. I'll keep bringing them. But he's just trying to make money on people that don't know anything about games. They just want to go through the nostalgia factor. So you got to watch out for that stuff.
I actually dealt with. I've got one of those guys around here. He's in a little flea market. He's got a booth over here, and I actually saw a Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, he had it for $25. It had the box with it and everything.
Oh, the box, and okay.
It was the box and instruction manual and everything with it. And I looked it up and I was like, okay, box and instruction manual. They were going for about $35. So I was like, okay, not too bad. I should have bought it. I didn't. But when I was talking to him, he was like, oh yeah, man, that's a super valuable game and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, I just looked it up. I know the true value of it and everything. I know that if it was out of box, $10 to $15, which should be an average price for it.
Yeah.
And he had some games that were marked super high too. And he was kind of like that. I laughed because his case had a big, huge stack of Marios, and he had $20 on each Mario game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're just too high for it. So.
And they'll sit there on it all day. I mean, it's just crazy. There's one guy that just will keep selling, trying to sell it. And like, dude, you ain't going to sell it, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, what are you doing? And, you can't compete with eBay and Amazon. You got to be able to compete with eBay and Amazon prices. They opened up a retro game store called Retro Age in Pier Park in Panama City Beach, where I live. And that I've heard that if you have where that game store was, every month the rent to lease that building 10 grand a month.
Oh, God.
And you are not going to sell 10 grand a month in retro game. First of all, that's very dangerous because retro games are a limited commodity. Where do you even get them? Mm-hmm. And I still don't know to this day. There's one woman that I always go buy my retro games for. She gives me a military discount, all this stuff. And she's reasonable. Sometimes she's a little bit lower. But I also get the 10% off. And she knows I'm a collector. She hooks me up sometimes. But I don't know where she gets them. But she's got them. People bring them to her all the time. She just got to be the only one. And another one called Dusty's over here in Panama City. It's actually in, it's just a little bit north, but I can't remember what it's called. But they used to have a good thing going because they realized, they said, we can't compete with eBay and Amazon. We have to sell them lower. Well, then now, they said that we would go to the lowest price on Amazon and we'll knock off 10%. So I was there all the time.
Wow.
But then they just went, no, we're going to sell them for what they're worth now.
Yeah.
And they do give a 10% discount too, but I can't go in there because your prices are a little high now. Mm-hmm. So you had a good thing going and you were going to constantly sell, but whatever. So these are things you make connections. So obviously when you want to start collecting, you need to let somebody know you're collecting. A lot of people will just sell you or donate to you because they know you're a collector. Mm-hmm. Somebody gave me a Raiden. Oh my gosh. I got to look it up because just at work, they knew I was a video game collector, and they brought in a PS1 game, right? The Raiden Project. All right, the Raiden Project just brought it in. I was like, he said, "Yeah, man, I don't play it anymore. It's fun. If you have a stressful day at work, you can play it." I was like, "Okay, cool." And I had no idea what about. He knew I collected games, and I collect for all systems for the most part. And I looked it up, and the Raiden Project's trending for $35, about $40. Okay,
pretty good, pretty decent.
Yeah, so I said, dude, and this one's for sale for $64. It's in the big case. The disc only is $40. The one with the big case, the long box, like I got $70. And it's like, dude, I said, it's a $70 game, man. You sure you want to just give it to me? He's like, yeah, take it. And so I played it. It's a fun game. So that's how I get some of my stuff. And anybody on YouTube will tell you that's how they get their stuff. But anyway, so Craigslist, sometimes you can get good stuff that's hit or miss. eBay, you're probably going to play retail. If you're just always on it, sometimes you can get a good buy it now. Somebody that doesn't know anybody that's trying to sell something, buy it in bulk. It almost always goes for retail, almost every time. Because everybody's looking for that stuff.
That's the same way with me and Pops on eBay. If you hit eBay with it, you're most likely going to pay a higher price. There's a couple Facebook groups that I follow that we actually do trading and all that inside, and you can actually get pretty good deals. And it works better if you, like Hollywood said, if you tell people you're a collector, you tend to get more back out of it. Like with people, my people at GameStop, they know I'm a collector. When they've had the leftovers from, giving out game, sometimes if you pre-order the game, you get this little figurine or whatever. They've handed me a stack of those before because they know I'm a collector. I've got a little Lego helicopter from them that was when they sold the Lego game a couple of years ago, and my little son loves that little Lego helicopter. He plays with it all the time. But I told him I'm a collector, and they just hand me this stuff. So definitely take that advice. That's probably one of the best pieces of advice is just tell people you're a collector. You'll end up getting stuff back really easy.
Yeah, and kind of know the market here in terms of what's coming out. Like, take Earthbound, for example. The game used to, Super Nintendo game, did not sell good. It's not rare. It's kind of weird. Why is it used to be $250. Mm-hmm. Why is it so expensive? It's a great game. But you can go on eBay and look, and I'm looking right now, I'm just scrolling through. I scroll all the way down the bottom of the page, and it's just Earthbound carts, all the way down. This is not rare at all. Mm-hmm. But it's expensive. But Earthbound came out on Virtual Console for Wii U. Mm-hmm. Okay, and it's on the SNES Mini.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's on the SNES Mini.
The price for that cart has dropped to about $150. All right, another big one. I'm going to say how much it is. Suikoden 2 for PlayStation. That's one I owned. I bought Suikoden 1 and 2 back in the day, and I kept them because I love them. They're so much fun. And now, so buy it now, pre-owned, complete, $130, right? It used to be $250. There's a sealed one right now for $425. This is what people are asking for it. I don't know what it's worth, but it's going to be somewhere around there. It used to be $250, $300. The reason it's not so much anymore because PlayStation Vita, you can now. I don't know if you can do Suikoden 2 anymore, but it came out on the PlayStation Shop for a while. So now that was used to be the only way to play it. So the point is, know these games, know how you can, know where can you play these games. If it's the only way to play it, and it's a rare game, it's to play it by the card or the CD, then you're going to have something on your hands. Okay, let's see. Other stuff to think about: label variations. Know the fakes from the real ones. If you're going to start getting into that, especially for these expensive games, kind of learn what's expensive and what's not. You can just go look up rare Super NES games, collectible Super NES games, collectible Nintendo games, whatever on YouTube, and learn that way. But one thing nobody talks about, and I'm going to give to you guys because you are H&K listeners, and you can hear it here. But let's talk about Nintendo games, the very first ones, okay? If you look closely, a lot of people don't realize this. It's very subtle. I probably was collecting. It's not super subtle, but I mean, you just don't notice this until after. I'm going to give you 2 bits of information. If you look on the back of back of an NES cart, count the number of screws on the back. There's 3 in a standard one. The top part of the cart pinches together. Well, the older games, when they first started coming out, the first year or 2, they had 5 screws in the back. And you can look at the very top of the cart, if you're looking down on the label, and it is smooth. It doesn't see, you know what an NES cart you're looking at in your head right now. It's smooth on the top, okay? Variations, learn them. Which one is more a 5-screw Mega Man versus a 3-screw Mega Man? Somebody that has a Mega Man, I'll sell this Mega Man. One of the rarest games of all time, a 5-screw Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. One of the very first ones. Super rare. Mike Tyson Punch-Out goes for $20, $25. A 5-screw, who knows? So if somebody wants to sell a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, buy it now on eBay for $25, and you look closely and it's a 5-screw, snatch it. You might get lucky and be the only one. You're at flea markets or whatever. Look for these different variations. They're older. Some of them are only 5, and just because it's 5-screw doesn't mean it's the rare variation. The variation is the 3-screw that's so rare. So think about that. Look for that kind of stuff. Research that stuff. Okay? That's for the H&K listeners. Here's another one for you. Take an old game like Gumshoe. It's a 5-screw. Okay? This is for you too. Clear. Mm-hmm. The 5-screw Gumshoe. Just a Gumshoe game. Light gun game. You can pick them up. Some of them are heavier than others. Because if you unscrew it and take it out, you know what's in there?
Mm-mm.
You're reading. This is super important.
I'm listening to you now.
This is super important because you know what's in there? You'll never guess. I got one.
A battery.
A battery? No. You unscrew it. It's a translator. All they did was take a Super Famicom translator. So you could buy any Famicom game and unscrew it and put it in that cart and play it on your regular NES.
Oh, wow.
It's a translator in there. You unscrew it. I don't even know if it's a translator. It's the wrong word. But you unscrew it, and that little pin connector at the bottom, all it is a transfer case, kind of like
kind of like Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah, it's just like that, and it has the American version of Gumshoe on top of that to translate it. So anyway, or the Famicom, the Famicom version of Gumshoe on top of that translator, so then it translates over. So all you have to do is unscrew it, take that Gumshoe out, buy any Famicom game you want, put it back in that translator, and you can play any game you want to.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
So it's stuff like that I want H&K to take with them as you guys go forward.
I was actually looking up the 5-screw Mike Tyson. It goes for about $120.
120 is all?
Yeah. That's what
it on there?
That's what this is from a group around June 9th of this past year. That's like, about 120 for it.
I don't know.
Somebody's saying $300 for a loose cartridge. This is just a loose cartridge. So
somebody offered $500 with somebody I saw for a 5-screw. But anyway, you can look at them and see what I can look at these pictures. I'm so good. I've seen it so many times that you can look at it and just see the front of it, and you can tell it just doesn't have the 2 notches on the side. If you see notches on the very top, It should be completely flat over the top. If you see notches on the far left and right, it's a 3-screw. So it's just little things like that. But yeah, but anyway, we're great. 120. Dude wants to sell you a Mike Tyson punch out for $20. Go make you $100.
Exactly.
You know, that kind of stuff. You know, did you do your research on it? You just want to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. You know, so stuff like that. If you got Mega Mans, those are always a bestseller. For whatever reason, Mega Mans, particularly the latest ones, 4, 5, and 6, go for a lot of money. Godzilla 2 is one of the NES games I got. It's like $200. $100. Used to be. And then Tournament Fighters for Nintendo. So another rule of collecting is the later in a system's life. Like I think Tournament Fighters came out in 94. Mm-hmm. So it's the only fighting game on the NES well, it's not the only one, but it's one of the better ones. And it came out so late, nobody bought it, so it's worth a lot of money. I'm gonna look it up right now, see how much it is. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, it spell corrected to tent. Tournament Fighters. I got to put NES because there's a bunch of them. There's one on NES, Super NES, and all that. Yeah, $150 is what somebody's asking for it loose. So, wow, there's one sponsored one for $230. It's going up. So, yeah, that's probably one of the most expensive.
Okay, so this is TMNT Tournament Fighters Nintendo 100% complete in box, $529.95.
Yeah, I see the cart right there for $180. Loose.
This one person. Okay, here, I'm fixing to blow you away. This is a completely sealed version of that game. Somebody's trying to sell it for $1,700.
Yes, I don't know. Somebody might if they want to get a sealed collection. So that's that brings up a good point. So there's different types of collection. I do not buy. I got some sealed games, but it's just because I just got a real good deal on them. But I do not, like some of the John Hancock's, they call him the Immortal John Hancock, another guy. He's out of Portland, but he's kind of in the Seattle scene. He has a Portland Gaming Expo every year. Seems like a real good dude. I've never met him or anything, but he'll open a sealed box. He doesn't care. He wants to play. So people that do these sealed collectors are just kind of like, you know, that's fine. People just want to look at them. I do not want a sealed collector. I like to play the games. I like to be interactive with them, with the things that I buy.
Well, yeah, what's the point of buying it if you can't play it? I mean, now, granted, my things like my Pops and everything, I keep a lot of them in the box because that's that, and I don't go play with toys anymore, so that's a little different. But for games, I mean, why wouldn't you want to play it? As long as you don't tear the game up and make any marks on it, I think that's great because then you can say, hey, it's working. Because I remember back in the day, Nintendo every once in a while did ship a cart that didn't work. You know, you do have those.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could possibly have this game that you just paid $1,700 for in a sealed box. If you opened it up tomorrow, you find out that it doesn't work, then it's completely worthless at that point.
And you find out it's not even in there. That's the thing.
Yeah.
There's different seals too. The H seal on the back. So all I'm trying to get at, guys, there's a lot to it. So go in there and study it if you really want to get into it. Like, look at this I'm looking at Final Fantasy VIII. I do have a sealed Final Fantasy VIII for PlayStation. And the only reason I do, because I bought it a long time ago, off of eBay, and it's the green label. So there's a difference. The green label is greatest hits, and a black label. Black label is one of the first ones. That black label is going to go for a little bit more if it's sealed. But I bought it for like $20, brand new. And it's like right now, the Wii U is going to be good to collect for. Anytime there's a dying system, it's going to start getting cheap. But then you got to give it 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and the games will start going up again. But I still have that sealed collection. I play Final Fantasy VIII on my Vita, so I just bought it on the download digital version on the Vita, so I don't need to open my Final Fantasy VIII. I think I got 3 Final Fantasy VIIs, man, either 2 or 3. I just happened to get it in another batch or something. I got the green and the black seal, and that's the original one that I bought. But yeah, stuff like that. So here's another thing they got going on for the Vita. The Vita has something they call limited run games. It's a new company that they'll make limited runs on games. So they'll make 2,500 of a game. It guarantees they'll sell out of them. They'll make 5,000 of a game. You can just look up, and you got to buy it off the website. I mean, they'll go for, you don't have to buy it. You can buy it secondhand, of course, but I own five sealed limited run games from Vita that I got for like $200 or something. So $40 each. And I don't know if they're going to be valuable or not. You never know. Vita is not a popular system. So that's another reason to collect for it.
So that brings up something that's actually fixing to happen real soon. Did you know that GameStop is re-releasing Secret of Mana? Now you can either buy it the digital copy or you can buy the limited release CD of it.
Yeah, you'd mentioned that in one of the podcasts.
February 15th is the drop date. I think I'm fixing to go pre-reserve one just to have one and
absolutely
and do that because I think that would be great to have. Because if you're looking at collecting, that'd be great. Now it's a reworked game. It's remastered and everything, but I mean it could be a game that becomes valuable one day. So getting it in disc copy, I think, would be a good idea, especially considering that's a limited run, and that's what we're talking about now with limited runs.
Yeah, if I do that, I'm going to buy one and then just get a digital copy to play and keep that one sealed.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the thing. So that is going to be a collectible because it's limited. So is it going to be through the roof, astronomical at some point? Probably not, because here's where collecting starts getting expensive. Because look at where we are. We're mid-30s.
Mm-hmm.
So we're got jobs. We're established families and whatever. And sometimes you want to just go back and play some old games. So we have money now, so that's when you go buy your NES games. The limited edition Secret of Mana, if you want to go be nostalgic for Secret of Mana, you go play the Super NES version.
Yep.
You're not going to really have a kid now that's going to, I mean, he may, but it's going to be very limited. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be one or two that play the remake for the first time and they love it. And then when they get 20 years down the road and like, oh, I remember I used to play that game. If they don't own it, they might be nostalgic for it. It's particularly if it's digital only. Here's the thing, too, about digital only. And this is why I do not buy digital only. I mean, I have some digital only games. Something like Battlefront 2. Okay, I bought that digital only because the server, you're never going to, I mean, that does have a single player. But like Call of Duties or anything online, 15 years from now, SOCOM, you can't play it anymore. The servers are down. Nope. So those are going to be gone. So those are like Destiny. Nobody's going to play Destiny. You can't play it when the servers are down. So these are dangerous games. You're not going to collect Destiny. Collector's Edition, those are different. They come with other little trinkets and stuff.
Exactly.
But just you got to think about the game itself. Anything that has a server where you have online mainly, it's a lure. It's not going to be. You can't play it later, so who cares? These RPGs are where it's at for collectors. Mm-hmm. I mean, sports games are... by the way, if you are a collector or trying to get into it, sports games are completely worthless. There are a few exceptions, though. Look for them on Nintendo 64. There's a couple of sports games. I think it's like International Soccer 2000. Mm-hmm. It's very rare, but it's a sports game. I bought a Tecmo Super Bowl for $1 because it's like $20-something. And they're like, cool, it's sport. They put it in the sports bin. They didn't care. This is going to be worthless when they were right 99.9% of the time.
Yeah. When I go into Game Exchange, I see stacks upon stacks of sports games. The games that you're looking to collect and trying to find to collect, you very, very, very rarely find any good collections stuff there. I mean, you do. I walked in there and I saw a NES Mini in there. Completely sealed. Wanted $200 for it.
Yeah, silliness.
I go in there and I ask,
very wary of that store from now on.
I mean, one thing that I am looking for is a PlayStation 3 that's backwards compatible. I want to have one. They actually, market-wise, they will sell it for $80.
Not too bad.
So if they get one, they could sell it for $80. That's actually good because when you go look for them, most of the time for a backwards compatible one, you're going to pay upwards, almost like you would for a PlayStation 4 now. I've seen them go for $300-$400 before.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can look up and find companies that do stuff like that too. So
if you go to a game store, a flea market, or whatever, flea markets, you're going to have to get there early. There are people, or garage sales. I mean, they are people. I'm not kidding you. That know when these garage sales are coming out, and they probably scout around before to look at the houses and say, or call and say, "Have you got any video games?" Yes, I mean you talk to the people selling. You'll see so many videos and people that I've gone to garage sales. Say, okay, I'm going to go. They're open at 7. And I show up about 9. And I got any video game stuff? They're like, we used to, and then somebody was here like right when I opened, and they just took it all. They are waiting for that, like vultures, man. They just swim around. That's how these retro game stores stay in business. And there's so many times where they'll have, a couple of games out, and you'll buy them, and you just say, "Hey, do you have anything else?" "Oh yeah, let me go see," and they'll run in there and grab stuff, and so it's really it's kind of part of the fun of it, of collecting for video games, is that you just kind of, somebody was getting rid of their games on Craigslist for whatever reasons. They just said, "I got to get rid of them, man." They had a Breath of Fire 3 or 4 on PlayStation, a Suikoden Tactics, a Radiant something. All these RPGs, like 4 good RPGs for like $20. I was like, okay. He said, "Yeah, I just got to get rid of them, man. My wife's making me." So I was like, sweet, I'll take them. So that was on Craigslist. So you never know what you're gonna get. So there are good deals on Craigslist. Check it out every so often. So that's another weird place to go. Learn the variations, learn the rare games, learn the stuff that people, the average person, or even people that are trying to sell them, that just know a little bit about it, are going to overlook. That's where you're really going to get good deals as a collector.
So, as I see we're creeping here quite a bit on this, I want to ask you one question, and this is about your collection. If you could look at your collection right now, what would be the one piece you call your jewel of your collection, your crowning achievement piece of your collection?
Oh wow. I don't know, man. I think my favorite one that I have, that is probably, ironically, it's one that I bought new and have just kept. It's going to be the Suikoden 1 and 2. Probably Suikoden 2 on PlayStation. And it's not even the most expensive one, but it is my favorite. I love that game. It's one of my favorite games. It is such a great one. So, yeah, that would probably be it for sure. But it's just whatever you want and you like, and you're willing to put the time in to go do. That's really the secret to it. Don't just start collecting something because you think you're going to flip it and make money. You're not going to be in it long enough, and you're probably going to end up losing money because you're not researching enough.
If you start doing collecting to try to make money, you're going to lose money. The people the friends that I have that tried to start doing the whole Pops thing to grab them to flip them, they've lost more money than they've made. So my advice is, if you're going to collect, like Hollywood said, do your research, take your time, buy it to collect it, to keep it. Don't buy it to collect it, to flip it, because eventually it's going to catch up to you, and you're going to tank. You're going to lose a lot of money on it, but especially like with the people that I know that bought these Crotas, like I was saying with the Pops. They started out at first where a regular Crota exclusive for Target was $300 on eBay. Now you can get it for $20. I can go walk into Target right now and pay $8.99 for a brand new Crota. So you're going to lose money if you're not careful. You've got to be careful. You've got to look at the trends. And that's the big thing, especially like with things that are new to collecting, because Pops is a new collecting thing. It has, it's been around for about 10 years or so, but it's a new collecting thing. So they trend a lot. So you've got to watch it. You got to watch what's popular and what is actually going to be a good sell, because they've got some characters there that you would think that, oh my god, that's not popular, there's no way that would sell, but they go for big money. The big thing is they had the serial characters like Trix the Rabbit and the monsters from the different Monster Berry cereals. Those are going for crazy amount of money because people think that it's going to be a collector's item. And they did do limited runs on them, so you kind of have that. Huckleberry Hound. How many people really, honestly, know Huckleberry Hound the cartoon? That thing right there. That in the Pop world, if you find a Huckleberry Hound, you've got a gold mine, because there's quite a few variations on it, and the cheapest variation's like $40-$50. And you could probably buy one for $10 if you slip up on it just right. So it's one of those things where, if you're going to do collecting, make sure you do a lot of research before you start. Otherwise, it'll hurt you. It really will. It'll make you lose money, and you don't want to do that, because you want to invest in something that you feel like is going to be a payout for you in the end. And for me, my Pops collection is not for me to say, oh, that Pop right there is worth $50, $60, $70, $80, $100. It's to say, dude, that's a cool looking Pop. That thing looks awesome. I want to have that right there and pass it down to my son. Because that's how I look at it is all my collection stuff is, I want to pass this down to my son. And hopefully I instill something in him that makes him want to do collecting as well. trust me, I come from. I'm not trying to promote being a pack rat or anything, because trust me, I got pack rats all in my family. But collecting can be a lot of fun if you have a passion for it, and I think that's where me and Hollywood are both trying to push the point is if you're going to collect, make sure you have a passion for what you're collecting. Otherwise, it's just not going to be fun.
Okay, let me give you guys one more tip, and then we'll call this good. It's kind of along the lines you were talking about knowing the trends. Okay, a general rule is if you want to know the value of something, just go to Amazon and type a game, just a game at least. I don't know about anything else. I'm just talking about any game in any system. Go and type it in Amazon and search for it, and it's usually 90% of the time it's going to be the lowest cost of the game, okay? But you still have to be careful. You have to read the description, because you go on there and it says, okay, you can buy used for $30 and you got a $100 game, and you just kind of looked at it real quick and went on your way and sold it for $30. You didn't look at the description. The description might be heavily damaged or acceptable, but all the good and like new versions are selling for $100. But Amazon's going to give you that $30 one, or label damaged, or battery backup doesn't work, or whatever the case. So, but a general rule is that if they're all the same, you can go look at the use and they'll all be $35 just down the line. Then you got a $35 game. You got to count shipping too, okay? Because if you can sell a $40 game on eBay, it's going to sell for $35 if you charge $5 for shipping. If it's free shipping, it's going to sell for $40. I mean, it's just weird like that. So it don't matter. Offer free shipping, you're going to be fine. Okay, knowing the trends. Here's a perfect example, and I got to say, I was perfect. I almost fell victim to it, but I read the trends, right? Great game, Nintendo DS, called Radiant Historia. All right, it's by Atlas. They released a limited amount of these games. Radiant Historia. At one point, this game was selling for $200 and something. Okay, it was rare. It's $200 something. You wanted this game. It's a phenomenal game. It's kind of like a Chrono Trigger, different time. It's an RPG, swords and sorcery type. It's different branching paths depending on your choices, and back and forth in time and all this, like Chrono Trigger. All right, I've played it. I own it, but I haven't completed it. Okay, so Radiant Historia. You go online right now. Atlas re-released it, by the way. They said, hey, we didn't realize the demand. We need to re-release this game. Go online right now. Nintendo DS is 2018. That same game, brand new, $22.49. So if you bid off on that, you got screwed. Yep. So know these trends. Another one is Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. It was selling for $100, $150. It was rare. Now, I don't know how much. Let's just look it up. I'm going to look at it real quick. Xenoblade Chronicles. There's a bunch of these out. Chronicles 2. I got Nintendo Switch.
I think the Xenoblade
Actually, I don't
Chronicles.
Think it was
I almost bought a Vita version of that just recently in the collector's box, and it was $34.
Xenoblade is actually, for a Wii, it's an expensive game. Brand new is $57.95. Used, it's going to be $45 or so. Wow. I got the Xenoblade Chronicles X for Wii U used and a sealed copy, because I bought a sealed one and I just never played it. Never opened it, found a good deal on a used one, so I bought it. So that's one I'll play. Oh, here it is. Wii U Special Edition. I don't know if I got the Special Edition or not. But anyway, I'll get wrapped up in this and looking at this. But I want to play it on the Wii U, but my son plays the Wii U all the time. He actually just broke my Mario 3D World trying to get it out of the case. So now I got to buy a new disc. He already broke Mario Maker. Had to buy a new one.
Oh, man.
So he didn't mean to. He tries to get it out good and put his little thumb in there and get it out. And don't touch the part that's reflective, He learns how to do the CDs. But anyway, he called it, broke it. So I'm like, I'm not going to. I broke so much of my dad's stuff growing up. It's my turn now.
Oh, yeah. I did too. I haven't had it happen yet with mine, just because he's 3 and I'm able to keep my stuff away. But I know when he turns old enough to where he can play games, I'm going to have that happen. I just know it.
So, but anyway, a lot of fun talking about this, and I'm glad we got to talk about collections. I knew we were going to get off on this thing. I knew it was going to go more than an hour.
Oh yeah, we're going
45 minutes or an hour.
Yeah, we're definitely going to go tangent when we talk about stuff we love.
So I'm glad we got to kind of go this. Hopefully, you guys learned something. If you want to start collecting, certainly this is give us some little tips here to kind of get you started. But it's really just boils down to research. But let us know on Twitter, man, Facebook, whatever, what games you collect. I'm going to try to post a picture of my game collection. I've sent it to you on the shelf. I got my couch in front of it. I got to have to move it to get a picture of the whole thing. I kind of picked a stupid place to put it in my office instead of on the wall where I can actually see it. So I play my games. My back is facing the collection. So I might have to end up moving that thing and move the couch back. In fact, maybe that's what I'll do when I get home and rearrange everything. But I want to take a picture of it and I'm going to post it. It's got a bunch of stuff on it too. I got the Star Wars original movies, with the DVD version, original editions, and the special editions that are in one. Captain N, the Game Master DVD. You can't even find it now. Those are kind of rare. Season 1 through 2, I think it only had 1 and 2 seasons, maybe 3. I think it's just 1 and 2. I think it's just 1 and 2. But the puzzle stuff, one of the ones that you gave me, and I got 2 others. The one that you gave me still sealed. It's sitting up there. Yeah. I almost broke it open the other day. It's like I want to put another puzzle together. I'll sit there and I won't stop till I put it together. It'll take me like 4 hours. I'll just be like looking at it. And
I'm like that
staying
too
up
with
till
puzzles.
2 in the morning. But it's so much fun. You forgot how fun it is to put a puzzle together, man. It's just a fun thing.
Yeah.
Especially when it's something you like. I'll put on something on YouTube, video game related. I'm geeking out putting together a Legend of Zelda puzzle, man. It's great. So, but I want to take a picture of that and I want to post it on there. I'll post it on my Twitter too. But give us a follow, HolliwoodKole, HolliwoodKole. And we got HK Gaming. Is that the one on Twitter, HK Gaming?
Yes, HK Game. I think it's HK Gaming.
Something like that. If you follow me or Kleerfyre's Kleerfyre, yeah. And so the HK will share those posts.
Yeah, we share them throughout everything. You'll find us release if you hit one of us. So
Twitter's pretty cool. I mean, I just kind of started it. I don't really, but if you hashtag anything Nintendo or retro games or whatever, pretty much everybody that posts something and has that hashtag, so it'll start feeding on your news feed. And like I've kind of met some new people. I not really met them, but I mean I've talked to them on Twitter, and we'll just share pictures or whatever, like video game pictures or something, or I'll just see their stuff they posted, video game rooms and stuff like that. That's just kind of cool. But anyway, I think that's it, man. You got anything else?
Nothing I can think of at this moment.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and till next time.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Oh, yeah, real quick. Don't forget about the contest. They're still going. So check it out. We've got the details on Facebook, and there's details in podcasts before this. Not going to expand on it because if you want to know, you need to listen. You should already know. You should know by now. So just want to make sure that we remind people of those contests for the SNES Minis going on until what we said, March 10th? March 1st. Sorry, I got something else going on March 10th. So, but, you still got some time to get into it. Get those things put in. So, guys, thank you so much for listening.